All right, I've started the recording, and this is Cynthia speaking. So this is our first AdoptMeApp Appster webinar, and we're going to be really learning from this, what to do, how to do it, what people are interested in. And like I said, we are recording both the webinar and the chat window where you can ask questions, but since there's just a few of us, you can just jump in and make a comment. This is the agenda. We'll do a little bit of introductions. We'll talk about what is AdoptMeApp, not how to use the app, since everybody pretty much knows that, and it's so simple to use. But we'll go over a few basics that not everybody does know, and Rob will talk about that. And one of the things that I also want to talk about is what are our goals and how do we measure success. A few tips and tricks, resources, support, and error handling, and then we'll open it up, although in cases there's just a handful of us, we can just be continually interacting. And then there are several people that are going to talk about how to use the app, which is Sheila, Anna, and Mickey. And Sheila and Mickey are here, but I haven't seen Anna yet, although I did get confirmation, so I expect she will be joining us. And throughout the presentation, I just have various screenshots of postings. We've had probably 15 to 20,000 posts, so it was very hard to choose which one. So if your post didn't appear, or if the post you think is the best didn't appear, it wasn't possible for all the great posts. So I just kind of chose a handful of them that I think, that I liked. What can I say that I liked? This is one from Pets in Need, and I like the way that the poster kind of jazzed it up. She obviously did a little bit of photo editing on this, and I thought it came out really cute. Talking to self, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? I thought that was cute. It did well in terms of traffic, although that isn't always the goal. Any questions or comments? Okay, so we'll do some introductions. You all know Rob and me. We are the customer team. There's more of us, by the way. Rob and I don't do everything. We actually have a team of engineers. And at the end of the presentation, when you look at it online, you'll see the names of our engineers and what they do. But Rob and I handle all we're the customer-facing part of AdoptMeApp. And I would like to point out that I do fostering. In fact, I have 2 foster dogs right now. And this is Rudy Tootie. He's in the demo shelter because the rescue group that I'm working with isn't in AdoptMeApp yet because they don't use one of the databases that we've interfaced with. He's absolutely adorable, but he's sort of difficult. But he is, I do post for him a lot, and there he is. He has very big ears. So I'm an active user of the app, which is good because it keeps me involved in what's going on, especially as we add new features. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I clicked on the wrong thing here, the presentation. So these are the 6 shelters that we now have actively using AdoptMeApp. Well, all of them are active. We have the 2 that have been doing this for quite a while are Pets in Need, which is in Redwood City, California, and the RSPCA Queensland, Australia, which is in Queensland, Australia. So these shelters have been working with AdoptMeApp for quite a while, for quite a few months, maybe even a year, I think, for Pets in Need, more than a year. And the RSPCA Queensland is actually also has a nonprofit, which is the Shelter Buddy Animal Management System, which is what all of these most of these other shelters use, and we've done a deep integration with that. So these are 2 very different size shelters. Pets in Need is a pretty small shelter, and the RSPCA Queensland is a very, very large shelter. So we've got both kind of all different types of sizes of shelters. Then we have Animal Allies in Duluth, Minnesota, San Diego Humane, which Stacy is from, in San Diego, obviously, and Fluvanna SPCA in Fluvanna, Virginia. And the latest one we added is our first government shelter, which is Contra Costa County in here in California, and obviously in Contra Costa County, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah, and Fluvanna is also a county. It's not a city. It's Fluvanna County.
Right, but this is an SP. The Contra Costa is our first government shelter, as
right.
opposed to a humane society nonprofit. So
right.
do you want to introduce yourselves? You want to start, Stacy?
Sure. So my name is Stacy Zeitlin, and I'm the Vice President for Community Engagement at San Diego Humane Society, which means I oversee adult and youth education programs, mobile adoptions, our communications team, pet-assisted therapy, and our volunteer engagement team. So with the communications team, kind of the marketing element, that's why our relationship with AdoptMeApp kind of falls under me.
Okay, Mickey?
And I'm Mickey Higuchi. I am a volunteer at Pets in Need in Redwood City in California, and I'm a local acupuncturist here, and I adore dogs, and I've always wanted to get into volunteering, and I've been at Redwood City for about 8 months now.
Sheila?
Hi, I'm Sheila Pai. I might have been the first user of AdoptMeApp. I'm not sure. At least with Pets in Need, I was, and I've been using it with a foster hospice dog I've had for about 14 months now. He had come to me. He had never had a home. He was. They thought he was going to die within a few weeks, and he came to my home, and he's been with us since February 2015.
Now she's going to talk more about that, which is a very, very interesting story. Okay, so we believe that our joint mission, of course we haven't talked to you guys first, but we think this is our joint mission, which is to increase adoptions and save more lives, which is pretty much the mission really of all animal shelters and rescue groups. By doing, AdoptMeApp enables this by marketing the adoptable pets to the public via social media and the pet profiles. The goal being to reduce average length of stay, allowing more animals to come in. And one of our top priorities in AdoptMeApp was to not increase organizational costs, leverage volunteers because they're already socializing with the animal, and try to build that ongoing connection, personal ongoing connection to bring in adopters. And we have been, we believe, very, very successful. The posts from AdoptMeApp have been seen with really a handful of shelters probably 4 million times on Twitter. So Twitter is our first social media interaction. So we've actually counted it up. It's nearly 4 million views. And we also believe the way to do this is to allow the pets in a way to speak in their own words, of course, channeled by the fosters or the volunteers or the staff or whoever knows that animal the best, and to do it very easily. So AdoptMeApp enables shelters and rescues to share these lives of adoptable pets with social media through these real-time updates on the pet profiles through a simple app. Oops. Let me go back here. Keep clicking on the and it's targeted for volunteers and fosters. Staff often uses it, but our goal is not to create more work for the staff, so it's really voluntary for them. Of course, it's voluntary for everybody, but and it was made to be really, really easy. We had one person at one shelter actually buy her first smartphone to use AdoptMeApp, and she never asked a single question. She started posting. I think you guys all know how easy it is. And this is just a great example, and Stacy will recognize this example. This is from the San Diego Humane Society. I just love this story, which is on the right here. You see a post. This was the 6th post that San Diego made, and it was actually for Rufus, but you can see Coco was here in the picture, and a person who had just started using Twitter, didn't even have I think he had a few followers, saw this post, came in, adopted Coco, and whoever at San Diego was doing the posting managed to get a picture of the adoption. And then Daniel Anderson, who was the person who adopted Coco, actually tweeted back to us and showed us how well she's doing. So that was kind of a, slam dunk, like out of the ballpark kind of thing from the very beginning. Of course, this is the goal: get animals adopted more quickly. It's very hard to track, though. In this case, at San Diego, they knew that this was the connection because the person said so when they came in. They said they saw her on Twitter in this particular post. So that's the nirvana of we're headed for. But there's lots of other positive things that can come out too. And we have seen quite a few things where we could track them, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Stacey, do you want to add anything about this?
No, it was just really fun that they captured, it captured the whole process. So.
Yeah, it was really great. So who benefits from AdoptMeApp? Well, obviously it's the adoptable pets because they get more visibility on social media, and then their story and their pet profile is more complete. We also have found that the volunteers and the fosters really like the app because they're socializing with the animal, but this also allows them to market the pet that they love so much, the adoptable pet, and increases their engagement. The adopters can learn more about the pet because there's more information directly from someone who knows the pet well. And we're actually in the process right now of creating AdoptMeApp, which will be the app that can be given to the adopter if the shelter wishes. And of course, the only thing will be in it is the adopted pet. And they'll continue to be able to post and not only keep telling the story of the shelter pet and how great it is, but also drive traffic to the shelter's website. The goal for the shelters and rescue groups is, of course, to reduce average length of stay, save more animals, get more publicity, and improve or increase pride and retention of volunteers and fosters. Okay, Rob's now going to talk about something that not everyone knows how to use the app, but there are a couple of features that are not so obvious that are very handy in the app, and Rob will talk about that.
Yeah, so first off, we've got when you go into the compose screen, there are two buttons there that are kind of small profile. One says view profile and the other says view stories, and those take you to the pets page at the shelter, the view profile one, and the other one takes you to the hashtag on Twitter. So you can actually, when you go to look at an animal, you can actually get a lot more information from the app you can actually get information from the app rather than just using it as a tool to tell the story. You can go see what stories have already been told, and depending on what information is on the pet profile on the shelter website, there's also the possibility that you could even find out like what kennel the animal is in by using that view profile button. So it's those are kind of things that might slip past you if you're not looking for them. And they can be very helpful, and it's a good place to go and look at the stories that you've just created as well.
Is there any questions about this? Because this is something that isn't always clear to users.
I had to figure it out, but I have to say sometimes I forget exactly what the name of the dog is that I'm posting about, and so it helps to have those links so I can double check their face. So it's come in handy for that reason sometimes.
On a future version of the app, we'll have thumbnail pictures along with the names of the animals as well. Mm. That's something we've got on the drawing board.
Yeah, I know. I've had the same problem when I go to take the photos of a bunch of cats. So, yes, it is handy there to be able to do that. And this, by the way, is a dog at the Contra Costa shelter, Donut. So Rob's also going to talk through some of the basics, just kind of the background, sort of the mechanics of how it works. Don't try to read this text. This is because we want the presentation to be standalone. Rob will talk through this stuff. So Rob, you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So the most important thing is, of course, this is the kind of thing you figure out after you use the app a few times and then go look at what you did. But the app adds context for all your stories. So the little thing that you type gets a lot of context added to it. It says every post, at least at the shelters we're working with so far, every post begins with adoptable and then the species as a hashtag, because this is dogs and cats on the internet, and there's a lot of that kind of sharing going on, so it helps pull in eyeballs to these posts. And then each pet, the name is automatically included in their hashtag, which gets added to the post as well, in order to allow people on Twitter to, you click that link and it shows you all the stories for the animal. That's what the hashtag is. If you follow that hashtag, you get every story that has that hashtag in it, every post that has that hashtag in it. So, and one of the benefits of that is that you don't actually have to use the animal's name in your storytelling, because it's already going to be included. In fact, we find most of the time that it works best to post in the pet's voice. So like this example where it's "Gosh, I'm handsome" rather than "Gatsby is handsome," because the name's already there, and it also is just we found that it's a little more fun and playful if it's the name of the pet, which is actually what most people just sort of automatically do, but that's worth mentioning since that name is already there. The photos, well, first of all, we often get asked how often, we get asked a lot how often one should post, and the answer is as much as you want. There's a lot of good ways to use the app to tell a story. Sometimes you can use the app, you can use multiple posts to tell a single story, so you can start with one thing and then continue with another picture and make it a narrative. So there's really no wrong way to go about it. Another little trick is that you may not have noticed in the app is that in the primary screen in the app, when you first launch the app, one of the options is favorites. There's a little star above the in the bar across the top on the compose screen for every pet, and you can tap that star and add them to your favorites. This is great for fosterers who are posting for just one or two animals all the time. You can just put them in your favorites and not have to go through the pickers to get to the animal. And the biggest thing that I would say is that you want to pick your best photos, and it's pretty easy to take a good photo with camera phones now, but one of the couple little things that pop into our heads, that we want to, it's better to not take a picture through the glass. If you're socializing with the animal, the pictures through the glass, sometimes those can turn out okay, but you can always kind of tell that they're through the glass, and it's a little less personal that way. And but otherwise, be creative and just do what comes naturally. So, and Cynthia, did you want to talk about the retweeting?
Yeah, I do have some accounts, so I retweet everything. Rob, do you want to go into mute? I think you're echoing.
Okay.
And I started doing this to kind of get things going, and then people started following me, so now it's like I can't stop. So you will see some retweets, and I've got a lot of followers now, so pretty much every post gets hundreds of views. So that's good, but so I just want to tell people that. That was kind of it. And I do want to emphasize that, be creative, do what comes naturally, dare to experiment, dare to try something new, and a lot of people have. And, if it works, great. If it doesn't work, well, it'll still work. I mean, it seems like most everything is, is interesting to do, and it's fun to be creative. Okay. So Rob now is going to talk about the widget. And here again, we're using a pet from San Diego, this Bosco.
Yeah, so the other thing about the pet profiles is that part of AdoptMeApp is that we add this, we've got this little snippet of code that can get added to the pages that adds this diary widget, which turns these pages which have traditionally just been a couple of photos and a paragraph or so written sometime in the few weeks after the animal arrived and some statistics, some vital stats. This now makes this page much more dynamic and gives anybody who's coming to see this, coming to find out about this animal, who's looking at the web page, a whole slew more information, a much more dynamic page with things that you can learn about the animal's personality just by scrolling through this. A lot of these pictures, like this example, loves a good game of tug of war. See, that's a great piece of information to learn about this dog, which in the official photos up there, he looks, he might look a little sad or a little, but you find out in the diary that he's quite playful, and this can actually be quite beneficial to the animal too, because a lot of times when the animals come into the shelter for the first time, they are they may not be in great shape. They may not be feeling good. They might be scared when they're getting their picture taken in those early days. And this gives gives people an opportunity to find out, see the animal blossom a little bit. So it's a great addition to these pages, and that's one of the things that we're the most proud of, because we've turned these pages into something much more dynamic and much more likely to bring people in.
I think Bosco is a very good example of some great posts that have shown the real personality of this dog, and these are just wonderful photographs too. Okay. So Sheila, we've now got, you're a couple of the hundreds. There's nearly, I think Sheila's done nearly 500 posts. And her hospice dog, so she started very, very early before we even had it fully up and running at Pets in Need. I've just selected two. One which is Milo with his brother dog. They're always trying to be in the sun. And then one with Sheila's daughter in the swing. So Sheila, you want to talk about what inspires you to keep posting hundreds and hundreds of times for 14 months?
Well, I guess, because this is not done with an end goal of trying to get Milo adopted, obviously, which is what you do with probably every other user you have. I just like getting a story out there. I guess I should say because I want to get other people to try hospicing, but really it's just, they do these cute things. It's nice to be able to publish it. I like showing off what they do, but yeah, I guess I would like to bring awareness to this issue of dogs who are kind of just languishing there and who really deserve the chance to spend their final days in a home, and it may not even be their final days as it turns out. But I just, I love seeing that how much Milo has blossomed and evolved, just really come out of a shell and become so much healthier and everything, and I love getting the story out to everybody.
I'm just showing a handful of the posts. I'm kind of scrolling through them. There was a video also. So could you just talk for a few moments about how do you decide what to do a post of? I mean, they're just so wonderful, and what kind of inspires you to say, oh, now I'm going to take a video of that, or a video or do a post. Here's the first time you ever played fetch. This is a video. So what inspires you to say, okay, I'm going to do that right, do that post?
Honestly, it's pretty difficult with Milo because he's very healthy, but he's not very active inside the house. The cutest thing, he does some cute things like stealing shoes and socks, and he was playing fetch that day. And it's just like you would do now that we have these smartphones and we can capture these moments for posterity anytime. You see your child or your dog doing something and you want to take a photo of it and show it off. And Milo, like I said, doesn't do much around the house. So on the occasion that he does, I just like trying to catch him in action and capturing that moment. It took me forever before I could catch him on camera stealing a shoe or stealing a sock. Even though we knew he was the culprit, obviously he takes them all. He has a little collection at his beds and in his Elmo chair. But I'm also doing it, for my kids. Like you see the post with my daughter. She was the one who wanted to bring him into our family, even when I initially said, I don't think we should do this. I want them to be able to look back on these when Milo is gone. And I just see these sweet moments of just sincere love between them when he'll just, crawl up into her lap or go lie there with Jeffrey or Petunia, my new foster fail. And I just want to remember it and show it off for everybody, show it off to the world.
Okay, thank you. I scrolled through quite a few of these, and of course they're all visible on the Pets in Need website if you go to the section which says Milo's Life. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Anyone have any questions or comments about that? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what are our goals. This example here is from Pets in Need, and I'm going to just talk about, is our goal to just gather a whole bunch of social media stats and show that, millions of people have seen our posts, which is true, and that type of thing. So this post here, which was done by a foster person for this dog, Rochelle, who's in the bottom corner here. When you click on it, the picture is bigger, but in this screenshot, it's not. She's at the beach with her family and her fellow foster dog. And incredibly, this was retweeted by the actress Kirstie Alley, who has about 1.5 million followers. Why this post? We don't know. You can see Kirstie Alley retweeted it, and it got nearly 20,000 impressions. And 42 people, the link click means they clicked on the link in the post, which happens to be the one that went to Rochelle's page. So is that our goal? Certainly this was a kind of a landfall, and this is all really great, but this is just, I think, one of the things that is of interest, but not necessarily the only thing, because maybe 20,000 people saw this. Is that better than one person seeing this? Which is kind of the case I showed you before with the dog in San Diego, where one person really, that we only had a handful of followers, saw the post, came in and adopted the dog. So we're not necessarily saying that we're trying to get all these impressions and all these views, but although that's good. So it's kind of a mix of what is it that are our goals. And what I want to do is ask you guys to just come up with a few ideas of what you think our goals are.
Definitely trying to lead to adoptions, sharing the animal in a different way or a more personal way so that somebody connects with the animal.
Right.
And the more exposure anyone has, I think, expands the potential adopter base.
Right.
I do really like the idea, too, of the volunteers being more engaged and involved because they often have their favorites. And if they're not the volunteer photographer or something like that, they have less of an opportunity to share besides their own channel. So this allows them to share in a way that's really authentic in their connection with that animal.
I agree with that as a volunteer. Oops, that's my dog.
It's interesting because that was sort of an unexpected thing that we hadn't realized would be so powerful, is how it really enables the volunteer to do that and to kind of go beyond just the socializing.
Right, because before, I mean, I would almost have to wait for the shelter to maybe post a pic of a dog that I knew in order to be able to comment on it. Otherwise, you know, I just had to hold it into my, you know, in my own head. So yeah, it is a nice opportunity to be able to share what we know about the guys that we hang out with.
Okay, anything else? That's great. When we publish this, we'll put in the comments that you made. So this is what our ideas were. It's basically very similar to what you all came up with. Uh-oh, sorry. Faster adoptions, you know, because of social media presence and a you know, more informative pet profile. Lower return rate because they know more about the pet. Reaching a new set of potential adopters. One thing that's, I have another foster dog and I put her in a cage out there. She's not too happy. We are reaching what we know is definitely a different set of people because we're posting to Twitter right now. We are going to add other social media. But on Twitter, for pretty much all the shelters, the mix of men and women that see the post is 50-50, which we know from on the accounts, which most shelters do a very good job at Facebook, is going to be many more women than men. So we know we're reaching a different set of people, and you know, that's always good. It enables everyone to tell a pet story, even if they don't have any social media accounts. You know, are tech savvy, so that anyone can use the app, so that anyone that interacts with the pet. We also believe it's great visibility for the shelter as just a marketing tool for the shelter to get the word out about the great pets that they have. And all the shelters already have channels to do that, but this is a channel that's powered by the volunteers rather than the staff. So it's kind of a whole new, you know, set of kind of people able to promote the animals and promote the shelter without creating any more work for the shelter staff. And we also believe that together, all of the shelters doing this are really, you know, part of the whole plan to promote shelter pets as great pets, and the first place to go when you want to get a pet, to show off how wonderful they are through, you know, their direct interaction by the people that really love them. So this next picture here, or post here, is by Anna from RSPCA Queensland, who I was actually expecting to be here. I just had emailed with her, so something must have come up, and she's not here. But so I'll explain this one for her. This is Zook, and this actually happens to be the most retweeted post we've ever had, with 98 retweets. I feel like I want to ask a few friends to go do a couple more retweets and get it up to 100. It's not necessarily the highest number of views, but that was the one that was retweeted by Kirstie Alley. And, you know, there's no kind of explain. I mean, this is a wonderful photo. The dog is spotted. The background is spotted. But you know, it's just, I think it's just kind of interesting. I think it also points out that there's a lot of sort of random going on. You know, what time of day, kind of who retweeted it, who then retweeted it. This one was obviously extremely popular with 98 retweets. And what I wanted her to talk about is, you know, how did she have the kind of inspiration to take this photo? But I think it kind of speaks for itself about it's just really a cute view of Zook, and also that it's very, very simple. She didn't do anything fancy. She just took a photo of him, and she just says, you know, well sit, shake hands, drop for a treat. What a good boy, right? And then it's wildly popular.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So are we keeping track of, you know, if it's a high retweet, when are they adopted out? I mean, is there somebody, you know, making a spreadsheet of what might be affecting the adoption rate or how quickly they get adopted out?
You know, we do have the stats from Twitter. The problem is tying them back to how quickly they get adopted and everything is extremely difficult, and it would require a huge amount of data, which we don't have yet. Eventually, we will have enough data to know that. But there are so many variables, like what time of day, is it a dog or a cat or a kitten? There's just so many variables, but I think in time we will be able to do that, because we do have the Twitter data. What we'd have to do, though, is tie it back to how quickly the animals got adopted, and that's a whole different set of data,
Right.
which we also have, by the way, because we're tracking the animals in the database. But that's definitely a future thing that we want to do. There are a lot of variables, though, and it's going to be really hard to pin it down to what, is it because this dog has spots? Is it because there's a yellow water bowl? I don't know. But that's a very good question, and something that in time we want to be able to address. So we talked about where our goals, so then what is success? So I want to hear your idea. So how do we know that we're successful?
It's kind of
Pretty
hard,
much.
right? I mean, unless they're adopted, it's kind of, I kind of, at this point, I think I hope that I'm achieving something, right? By posting their stories and their personalities and how cute they are and stuff like that. But I don't know, if adoptions increase, I guess it's a good thing, which I think has been happening at Redwood City Pets in Need, where they're exceeding their monthly goals now for a while. So maybe it is boosting the adoption rates a little bit.
Right. One thing we have seen from the shelters that have been using the app a while is that they definitely are seeing more traffic to their pet profiles, and that can be measured both from Twitter, because that's what the links are, and also by your own stats when you look at your website. So we know we're driving more traffic, and but it's like any marketing program. It's kind of hard to pin down, what is, let's say someone, let's say they saw it in the pet profile, so it didn't come from Twitter, although it was from a post, and that they saw one particular photo, and that went, oh, yeah, that's the thing. When they come in, you say, well, why did you come into the shelter? And they say, well, I saw it on the internet, right? Yes?
Yeah, I think it's also success when the staff and volunteer are using it and engaging with it, and connecting with the animals in different ways to make it fun and capture that.
Right, and that actually can be measured by doing surveys of the users. So that is, and I know one shelter did a survey when pretty much universal, everyone said they liked the app, but that is one way that does have a way of measuring. And of course, the fact that they are using it helps too.
Right.
Okay, so our ideas are, of course, very similar. Whoops. Keep clicking on these links. Sorry. Definitely looking at the stats, looking at the link clicks. I mean, we do want to get people into the store, right? So getting them to come and look at the pets, and we know that that AdoptMeApp drives more traffic to the pet profiles, right? Because they go right to the pet profiles. They don't come through the top and drill down. They go right to those pet profiles, and you can see that it's coming. Stacey, I'm sure you can look at your stats and see that it's coming from a different place than it's coming from Twitter, from a specific location. And of course, we see that on Twitter too, and we can tell how many clicks there were on the links. The adoption is very hard to track. I mean, at San Diego, you actually were able to track that because the adopters specifically said so. The engagement, which Stacey just talked about. Success would be visibility for the shelter. Again, it's hard to measure that, but it's just part of the marketing, the whole marketing of the shelter. So the statistics are important, but there's a lot of sort of things that are, just part of all of the mix of volunteer engagement, getting animals adopted, kind of the joy of of shelter pets. It's really sort of amorphous and hard to explain, but certainly that, is all kind of part of this mix of, are we being successful? So now I'm going to ask Mickey to talk about a couple of posts that Mickey's done many, many posts. She's also with Pets in Need. And these
it's hard to choose.
Yeah, I know. Well, we did manage to choose. We've got Edmund and Nano, and both of these, she's got some collages here, and I just think they're so cute. This one is, well, I'll let you talk about them, and I can, so you go ahead, Mickey.
Okay, well, I wasn't going to start with them. I was just going to generally say, like, what my intention is to communicate to the potential adopter the personality and the quirks of the shelter dogs that I'm working with. And it's probably because I tend to gravitate towards the shelter's more difficult dogs, probably because I have one myself. And I know how awesome they can be despite being the problem child. So, you know how it often involves some type of behavioral issue. They can be snappy, hard to handle on the leash, skittish, all those kind of things. And I feel that in these cases that I really need to showcase a combination of what their issues might be along with what makes them special. And I have wondered whether it's a good or bad idea to point out a dog's behavioral issues, but at the same time, a lot of these dogs have a red tag or red dot on their tags at the shelter. So I feel that the more information that a potential adopter has about their future pet, the more I'll be able to find a perfect match for them. And from my own experience and watching those of my friends and their animals, everyone has such a different tolerance for a lot of behaviors. So, for example, I'm used to having a leash reactive dog. It's not the easiest thing to handle, but it doesn't really faze me anymore if it's listed as a dog's problem. And it's also nice to be aware of these things beforehand, before finding out at home, which is what happened to me when I adopted my girl. And and some people want low energy, some people are into the crazy high. So I just feel that there's a right person and a right dog for everyone, such that listing a dog's behavioral quirks will be, better prepare all parties to learn how to settle in together. So saying that, this is the guy on the left is my sweet, sweet Edmund, and he's truly a bit of a mess. He pees on everything. He has a crooked back leg. His teeth are mostly gone, and the ones that are left are hideously yellow, and tongue hangs out. I mean, and he's just not the prettiest dog in the world, but he can snap at you too, and he's not the cuddly, silly dog that you see in the next window. But I absolutely adore him, and I think he's like the most charming and entertaining dog at the shelter. And also, for being a longtime resident, nothing seems to faze him. He's actually quite a cheerful little guy. And I've only been there about 8 months, like I said, and he's just become a pet project of mine because I think he's truly one of a kind. So in my posts, I really try to highlight all his little quirks, which make him just the unique little guy that he is, as well as show how adorable that he can be and cheerful. He's really cheerful in the photos that I post as well. So, and I know that there's somebody out there, that's what I hope anyways, that there's somebody out there who's going to see my post and say, that's the one. That's my goal for this guy. And Nano Nano is the other tan dog. He's a similar case, but it's a completely different package. He's a cute guy, but he shows really poorly at the shelter because he's loud and he sounds desperate and he sounds scared and he sounds frantic. So I really want to let people know that, hey, this guy is different than what you first see, and he has so much potential to be a really loyal friend to someone he bonds to and trusts. And I can see these things when I take him out of the shelter environment or when I hold him and rub his chest and get him to calm down. So I want to let people know, because this is something that they're really not going to see when they first walk into the shelter. If people read my posts, they're really not that clever. I'm just not that witty, so I can't really speak to that. But my goal really is, like what I said, is to try to inform the adopter of the whole package, which is it's something that's important to me when I look for a new pet to incorporate into my family. I just find it very useful to have, all the information I can on what this guy's personality is. So I feel like that'll work for someone else too. And the other, of course, is the quality of the photo. And I know it isn't always easy for a lot of us volunteers because I'm often juggling my camera phone while holding 2 excited dogs on leash and in a public setting. So it's not always possible, but I certainly try. It's the first thing someone online is going to look at, like online dating, I think. So if one can, I think it's really crucial to get a really sharp and beautiful image that highlights the guy that's going to grab somebody's attention. So these are just things that I do when I take a photo. The first thing when I do when I go outside is to keep an eye out for a great backdrop. For example, I have 2 places on my walk route where a building has a beautiful, unique colored wall. Or now that it's springtime over here in California, an area that's green or full of flowers is something I look for. Something simple that will highlight the dog without the other visual clutter behind them is kind of what I aim for. And so if I can, I get down to the dog's level so that there's a more personal feel to the photo. And if the dog looks into the camera or smiles, that's just bonus, right? So the locals around the shelter do see me lying flat on the sidewalk or crouched down or sitting on the ground taking dozens of photos trying to get that one that works. Another trick besides treats, of course, is to take your pup for a quick jog because panting actually looks like smiling. It totally works. So yeah, basically information about the guy that I'm working with and beautiful photos are the 2 things that I really try to put across in my posts. And it really feels wonderful to find out that the difficult dog that I've been working with has been adopted out. And of course, like, what I've been saying, I haven't been doing a study on my dogs in particular or anything, but I like to think that maybe my multiple posts or my cute posts, had a hand in helping make that happen. So that's what I do.
Oh, thank you, Mickey, so much. I mean, you certainly are an expert at getting them to smile, and I just love these little collages where you show different aspects of that smile.
Well, I end up sometimes with so many cute photos, and then I realize I had that collage app, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to squish them all together.
Right. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about tips and tricks, although we're definitely not going to get into that. That will be the topic of another webinar. Really, all you have to do is add a photo, write text, push submit. That's all anyone needs to do. And as you can see, the one with Zook, that's all it was, wildly successful in terms of retweets. But if you want to do more, there are things you can do. And we're not going to talk about how to do these things. In fact, I'm writing a mini manual on this. So we're going to do some videos. But I'll just go through the things that you could do. And certainly, these are all examples from AdoptMeApp Appster. So these are things that people are doing. Here's one where this tip and trick is adding text to a photo where the name has been added. And that's kind of cute. There's, of course, a wonderful photo. And using emojis. So you can add emojis in the text. And that's kind of fun, right? So that's one of the tips and tricks. I just love all of these. This is adding text to the photo, but also making a collage. I guess these were brothers and sisters. I'm not really sure, but there was a bunch of these, I guess 7 of them, and the Appster took a individual photo of each and put them in a collage. I mean, I just thought it was brilliant. A lot of people do collages, which is, in this case, I think it just worked out really great. Using hashtags. Again, we add the hashtag for the species and a hashtag for the animal's name. But here the hashtag dog, and then Hildy with her unique name. But you can also add other hashtags, and they can really be stuff you make up, or they can be ones that people are familiar with, like walkies. If you click on walkies, you'll get a bunch of walkies, dogs taking walkies. Dogs of Twitter is pretty popular. Whether that makes it more likely to be seen, so sort of unclear, but these are kind of fun things that people can do, and we'll talk more about that in the manual and in a YouTube video. Another tip and trick is tagging with the @ So this you need to be cautious with, because what you're basically doing is you know, tagging someone else. And I think it can be done if it's done in a very natural way. This one, I'm going to admit, I did this one. And I mean, there's nothing special about this photo except this cat, which is at Pets in Need, this kitten, was absolutely obsessed with my new shoes, which I had just gotten. They were Brooks shoes. And I just couldn't help it. I said, your Brooks running shoes belong to me, in the, you know, the voice of the kitten. And Brooks Running, you know, they wrote back. They tweeted back. Is it just us, or does that cat look perfect? And this was pretty successful. So this seemed like a natural thing to do. People have done it with PetSmart or the Pet Barn, but it needs to be natural. It can't be sort of staged. And so that's something that you can do. And again, I know we'll talk more about exactly when you might want to do that. Adding a YouTube video. This, I think, is quite important. It's easy to do, which is you just put the video up on YouTube and then you copy and paste the URL, and the app recognizes that. The great thing about this is it goes out into onto Twitter, of course, but it also the video goes right into the pet profile. So you now have a video embedded in the pet profile very, very easily.
Is that going to be made easier later, or are there plans to have less
we
steps?
plan to make, right now you have to upload it to YouTube. That's right. That's the part that's not so easy, right?
Right.
And we are looking into making it, you know, so you can sort of do it in line. It's on the drawing board. Okay. But it's not an immediate new feature that we're working on.
Okay.
There's even more, which we'll go into in the mini manual. How do you deal with bonded pairs? What about if there's more than one pet in a post? Telling a story with multiple posts, telling a story together. Who posted what? You can actually look and see exactly who made what post. Maybe you really like it and you want to know how they did it. And then there's even other uses of AdoptMeApp. So does anyone want to add anything about how they use the app that we haven't talked about, or that they think is unique, or they want to add something to this? I just got a note from Anna saying she's going to be on the call in a few minutes. She's the one that did Zook. So I'm not sure she'll be here in time, but anything else you want to add about using the app that might be unique or might be useful? Okay. The last thing we're going to cover is the resources. This is one of, you know, again, there's so many, you know, thousands and thousands of posts, but I just love this one of this selfie of this horse and the ball and chair. I don't know how she did that. It's so cute. So our resources are the Facebook group, where we can share information, have conversations, talk about success stories, questions and answers, just kind of the general place to interact. I've created a SlideShare account where we'll put things like the mini manual and presentations. There'll be a YouTube account where there'll be things like this webinar and the how-to videos. We are going to move from sending you all emails. You know, we're a startup, right? So we're just beginning this expansion. The app has been up and running for quite a while in our initial shelters, but we are sort of in expansion mode, and now, you know, kind of just sending emails is really cut it. So we're going to be moving to a mailing list format where you can opt in for different things and opt out. We do have a demo that, you know, the app's so easy to use, you don't necessarily need a demo, but if you want to show it to someone, and it's on our website, and it's actually when you first sign up for the app, it's right there in the app. We've created a demo shelter that I believe everyone sees in the app. So for people who just want to play around that don't necessarily, they're not volunteers at a shelter, so they can't officially jump into any one of your shelters. And we have 75 toy stuffed animals in there that you can just grab your closest pet and probably find a match. And that's where, where people can kind of experiment. All of the posts from all the shelters appear on our website. So if you just go to AdoptMeApp.org, there's a feed in the middle of the page down a ways that is every story as it's told. And I actually look at every post and I retweet them all. Sometimes I get a little bit behind because there's so many, but I do look at every post. And you can too. If you go to AdoptMeApp.org, you'll see all the posts. Then the list of who posted what. There's an all shelters list you see for all the shelters, and there's also a unique one for each shelter, and this will be highlighted in this presentation when it's posted, so that you'll be able to go directly to the one for your shelter. I'll have Rob talk a minute about, so here's Anna. I'll have Rob talk about support, and then we'll switch back to Anna to talk about, add a few more things about Zoog. Rob? Rob, are you there?
Hey, can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know what happened there. It looks like we might have lost Cynthia briefly. And I guess, so, and you guys weren't hearing me, were you?
No.
Okay,
And now
let me jump back in. You can always, talking about support, you can email us customercare@kachingle.com. And the most common, that you could send anything you like to us there if you have a question or anything. You can also ask questions on the Facebook group. But if you have a specific, support issue, or like if you've, this happens infrequently, but it is actually the most often asked thing, is if you've accidentally posted for the wrong pet, you can drop us a line at customercare@kachingle.com, and we'll go remove that post, and you can post again. And we just FYI, we are on West Coast time, California time, so we will get back to you. But Cynthia, between Cynthia and me, we've got probably 20 hours of the day covered because of the different kinds of schedules we keep. But we will get back to you as quick as we can on California time. And if you have just general questions or ideas or anything like that, you can post in the Facebook group, which we definitely encourage you to do so, because we want to build a community there. Cynthia, are you back?
Yes, I am. Okay,
great.
thanks, Rob. So since Anna has joined us, I know we're a few minutes over. I just want to give her a chance to talk about Zoog, which I did, and I talked a little bit about it, but maybe you could, hi, Anna, are you here?
Yeah, hi, I'm here.
So maybe you want to talk about this post, what inspired you to do it, and how it became our most retweeted post ever in the history of AdoptMeApp.
Yeah, what a surprise. I guess it really, social media is a bit of a strange creature, isn't it?
Yes.
I think what I like to do is I try and just take a lot of different photos if it's convenient, and There's always one that just like this one, he looks really cute. He's got one little floppy ear and one up the top, and I think if you can word it so that it's sort of simple and not too cliche and that sort of thing, I think it can attract a large audience. I also follow a lot of different, particularly dogs. I'm more of a dog person, but I follow a lot of different animal social media pages, and I think that, not that I'd ever copy something that they have done, but I just think that that can give you a real sort of indication of what is popular and what makes people follow. You know what I mean?
Yes. So anything else though? I mean, I think the spots on spots was very clever.
Yeah, that one was a good photo. I think, like I said, if you look at some of these like big dog or cat or whatever Instagrams or Twitter pages or whatever, they can give you a few sort of tips. But I find that if you can, yeah, get a really nice background or something really colourful or really like patterned or something, and then try and get down a little bit so that you're a bit more on the dog's level, it gives it a bit more of a personable feel as well, rather than taking it from above where it's like, oh yeah, it's just a dog. But if you get down really low and sort of be involved with it, it does seem to take a better photo.
Okay, well, thanks so much for adding that to this wildly successful post. I think people might, or at least those in the U.S. might realize, of course, that Anna is from RSPCA Queensland, and so we did introductions earlier, so I'll do that for you. And I see that Rebecca has also joined us kind of halfway through. Rebecca, do you want to just mention who you are?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, all good.
Yep. Okay, yeah, I'm from RSPCA Queensland as well. Sorry I'm late. The message I got was that it was for a 10 a.m. start, but I think there may have been an issue with the timing, and I think you guys may have actually started at 9, so I'll have to rewatch it once it's uploaded on YouTube. But I mainly work with cats, so yeah, I don't really know what you guys have covered so far, so I'm so sorry for coming in late. I didn't realize.
No, I think we made an error in the timing there, and so we're living and learning. Not only did we appear to make a time error, but we also did not realize this was a 3-day holiday in Australia.
That's okay. It's always a holiday in Australia, so.
Oh, I am moving there.
Yeah, we also just got rid of daylight savings, so sorry, that might have confused you as well.
Yeah, that went off a couple of weeks ago, I think, so yeah.
Oh, that
is there anything?
That was probably it.
Anything,
I used an app to tell what time it was in New Zealand. So
I think we're basically done. I think I have just one last sort of wrap-up slide. But Rebecca, since you just arrived, is there anything you would like to add about what you you know, how you decide what to post and what your goals are in using AdoptMeApp?
Well, my position at RSPCA is I work in the photography area, so I take studio photos of cats and dogs to use on their profiles. The way that I personally use the AdoptMeApp is if there's a photo that's not necessarily a good photo for the overall profile, but it's still a good photo in a different way, then I upload it to my phone and then put it on the app. So a few that I've posted have been where a cat has like blinked one eye, and it gives the illusion that they're giving you like a cheeky wink. So I'll upload that with a bit of a cheeky sort of thing. Like I did one for Valentine's Day, and I was like, hey baby, why not come and meet me for Valentine's Day, wink. And so something like that is the way that I use it, because that way it's still a really nice studio shot, but it's just not necessarily a shot that I can use for their profile. So I try to use those types of photos on the app and make sure that the photos I do upload are a little bit different. I sometimes do use things like stickers and collages as well. And I do also try to use different hashtags as well, just to see if we can pick up some likes or some retweets looking at different hashtags. So, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much. We will be posting this so that everyone can watch it. Does anyone have any last things they want to say and before we finish up?
Nope.
All
No,
right.
that's good. Sorry again that we're late. I really didn't realize that we were late. So we'll definitely have a look at this online later on.
No, this is our apology. We need to become more in sync with Australia, so maybe we should just come over there and visit and really get into it.
We are very far away, so we'll forgive you.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, and we're looking forward to seeing more posts.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Together.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming. All right, everybody.